Hello, lovelies. My name is Luna. I am the founder of Vegan Bloomers, where we aim to connect, inspire, and learn. And welcome back if you have joined me before. Hello, if you're brand new. So today we have our brand new star vegan. I would like to introduce you all to Jamie. Welcome, Jamie. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
So let's start with the basics. So, where are you based? How old are you? And just share a little bit about yourself.
Don't you mean what I'm based in the UK, um, I'm in York? If that's you mean, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm in York, yeah.
And
And
tell
I'm
us about
30
yourself.
years old. Sorry.
And then tell us about yourself. What do you do for work? What are your hobbies? How do you like to spend your time?
Well, I mean, I like to I spend a lot of time online, live streaming, and I'm also a bit of as like street entertainer as well. Sometimes I like to busk and
Nice. What
yeah.
kind of things do you do? Singing?
I've done singing. I've also done beatboxing as well.
Oh, very cool. Do you want to give us a little demo?
All right. I mean, I could just like give you a little example.
Yeah, that'd be great.
All right, here we go.
That was awesome. Thank you for sharing. Little clap for you. That was really cool. How long have you been doing that for?
A few years really. It's just been a bit of a hobby, so just kind of on and off really. So yeah,
Nice. Oh well, you've got yourself a lovely little talent there, so well done.
yeah.
So tell us, what do you do for work,
Just not much at the moment really, to be honest.
if anything? Are you studying? Are you just having a break?
Yeah, just not much at the moment really.
Fair
Yeah.
enough. And do you, like you said, do you do a lot of streaming? Do you do like, is that like game streaming
Oh
or?
no, just chatting with people really.
Oh, okay, cool. So do you have your own YouTube channel?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Okay, well, we will definitely love to hear about that later. So let's move on to what we're all about. And I would like you to share with us your journey to veganism. So how long have you been vegan and what was it that got you there?
Since about like end of 2018. Yeah. So well, originally it was around 2016. Actually, I was kind of first introduced to it. I saw a lot of. I started seeing documentaries and things about it, like the treatment of animals and the factory farming and how they're being mistreated to say the least. And I was like, this is cruel, and but at the time I wasn't really ready to fully like commit to that. So I kind of just started to just kind of dip into it and kind of slowly but surely kind of go in that direction.
So was it did somebody introduce you to these videos? Did you just stumble across them? Like where did they?
I think it's just that it just because it was around the time started getting more popular and I started to hear more about it, more people um kind of embracing that lifestyle and so I decided to have a look into it.
So can you remember what documentary you watched to start with?
Um, there was a couple. There was one of them was Gary Yourofsky, I think,
Okay.
and there was just a lot of like footage I was watching, like about like slaughterhouses and stuff. So, like, and yeah, some horrific things going on with that.
And when you first saw this stuff, presumably you had no idea about what was going on beforehand. Like, how did it make
I
you?
mean, like obviously, I knew that like animals getting slaughtered and stuff, but you kind of just put it to the back of your mind, kind of thing, and you just kind of accept that's just part of life, just kind of. But then I realized the full extent of how bad things are, and how it's not just that they're there's this whole so-called like humane slaughter, but that oftentimes there's a lot of nasty things going on, and even with things like um, even in like the egg industry, the dairy industry, and these that people might think of as like benign or something.
So what was it for you that like struck you the most, you think? What do you think made you actually like shift to actually commit?
Um, it was not. I don't think it was really like one thing. I think it was the um, abundance of things that I saw, and but at the time I was just kind of a bit hesitant, just due to like not sure if I could, things like nutrition and things like that, trying to research things more and looking into like what foods I could eat to replace other foods and things like that. So just yeah.
So based on nutrition, like sounds like that's something that's important to you. Like what was it that you learned through your research?
Well, I learned how that you don't need to eat animal products to get your protein requirements, for example, because there's this like stigma around it being like that, it's just going to turn you frail and all this sort of thing. And that's obviously not the case if you do it the correct way.
So you mentioned protein. Um,
Yeah.
like a lot of people hear about protein and they think, oh, you can't possibly get protein as a vegan. And I know that, people that care about like bodybuilding and that kind of stuff,
Yeah.
like, would that apply to you?
Well, I mean, like at the time, I wasn't really like bothered about that because I was just kind of just as long as I could get enough kind of thing at the time. But it has been more of a concern recently. I'm trying to like build up and whatever, but but I don't know. It was just like I think it was more other things like certain vitamins, like vitamin B12. I was looking into that and at the time, and like try and make sure that I could get all that. But that's not really a concern, really. So
So you mentioned about like what things you could eat instead to get all these same things. Like, can you tell us a bit more about that?
well, I think it was just like a lot of the foods that I would have eaten was like quite just processed stuff back then. It was quite sort of it would be things like you know I used to eat a lot of like pizzas and things like that, and like um, oftentimes these wouldn't be vegan. So just but then there was like kind of they started to bring out more like alternatives and stuff, and so I kind of just would eat some of those at the beginning. Like there was a lot of things like veganuary, like where they would bring out all these new items and things like that um to like kind of ease people into it, kind of thing.
So do you feel that them having like alternatives such as like a plant-based pizza, for example, was helpful for you in your journey?
I think so. It was just like I guess it was just convenient and just something I can just kind of switch out and not really have to think too much about. Oh well, I'm gonna have to like make something from scratch or something, and have to try and learn the recipe and all this kind of stuff. So it just makes it accessible, I guess.
Yeah, that makes sense. So on the subject of food, like what would you say was the hardest thing for you to like transition over to?
Um, I mean, funny enough, it wasn't really that hard. It's like, yeah, I used to eat a lot of like chocolate bars and stuff like that, but then I kind of just, as I kind of started, embracing more of like the alternative stuff that I can just kind of get used to it sort of thing and just, yeah.
So for you, it wasn't really about the food. It was more the what was going on behind. Is that?
Yeah, I just felt like, it's just, I was like, this isn't something I want to support really.
Yeah, that makes sense. Was there anything that you like missed or still miss?
I don't know. I was just trying I have to think. I mean, I think it's just, I think the only thing is just, I guess you could say like the freedom of it in the sense that I could just kind of, if I wanted something to eat, I could just go and like get whatever I want because whereas now it's like I'd have to make sure everything is, there's no like animal products in it or anything. So it would be quite sometimes certain shops are still a bit kind of,
Scared.
limited on what they have. And even if they do have stuff that's suitable for vegans, it might not be the best quality or whatever.
Yeah, that makes sense. So do you find it hard at all to be vegan?
Um, Not really. Like I said, that's the only real thing that could say. Like, I mean, it has gotten a lot better with things like a lot of like if you go out for a meal, there's usually some option now. Like, so
So when you first did transition to being vegan, as we're talking about like going out to eat and stuff, like how did your people respond?
well, I mean, like I remember like my dad, for example, he was a bit kind of skeptical of it all, and he still is. Like, he still says, "Oh, like, well, you could at least eat eggs or something like that," and doesn't really fully understand you know, all the stuff going on. So I'm like, okay, like, I'm not gonna get into any like argument or anything. So, um, so it's just, yeah, it's just that obviously we have to just kind of make sure that when we look at like restaurants, make sure there's few options available, so and it can be a bit, maybe it stresses them a bit. I don't know, but at least they accept it. They accept that I've made my choice, and yeah,
That's good. So you've had quite a like a warm response, you would say. Is that right?
yeah, it's just it's not been like hostile or anything, at least. So yeah.
That's good. So have you ever gone through the phase of like when you first found all this stuff out, like you want to tell everybody what's going on?
Not particularly because like I don't really. Hang on. Yeah, sorry.
It's not.
Yeah, so like I don't, and it's just that I'm probably because I'm afraid of like like being pushy or whatever, and or whatever, or feeling like I'm judging people or whatever. It's like, so I know like some people are just like quite, like you got someone like Joey Colstrong, for example, who's very much like, some might even consider him as militant,
Yeah.
especially earlier days. But some people might respond to that, some people might not, and it depends on how you do it. But I just feel like I would probably struggle to try and convert people over, and so I don't want to like get into like arguments, and then it could also be like maybe it's also afraid of being judged or something. So it's like, yeah,
Yeah, that makes sense. So is it safe to say you've probably never been involved in any activism on your journey?
no, not for this, no.
No. Do you think it's ever something that you might consider to do?
I mean, it's possible. I would never say never. Like, but I just, if I was to do it, I wouldn't really be like, I would do it in a way where it's more about planting a seed rather than trying to like be more, too direct about things, if you will.
Yeah, that's fair. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Um, so talking about food again, what is something that you love to eat as a vegan?
Um, I actually quite like Indian food, like like kind of I remember like I used to have yeah, like next door neighbors back when I was living in Blackburn. There was a lot of like Asians around there, and they would like make these like dolls and stuff. So I knew it, and they'd be really good. Like so, and yeah, so like when it's like homemade, it's yeah, like Indian food. I also quite like Italian food as well, and yeah, generally more kind of like tend to be more into like foreign food, I guess, rather than British food. Like,
Yeah.
yeah,
So where, because you said you live in York now, what's it like
yeah.
there, like in terms of like availability for places you can eat?
I mean, it's like pretty decent. I mean, yeah, like I don't really go out that much, but like there is like a few places and they have like options that are available. So,
Have you got a favorite restaurant?
um,
Like anywhere, it doesn't necessarily have to be in York.
I mean, I do remember like a while ago when like Wagamama and that was like pretty good, and they had like a good like selection of options and stuff.
Yeah, it's like 50%
Yeah,
plant-based, I think.
yes,
Yeah,
that's good. Yeah,
that's cool. Um, how would you say that veganism has impacted your life?
I think the main thing really is like it's made me kind of like more study nutrition because like we just kind of like take things for granted and just sort of oh yeah well this food I guess it'll just get me through sort of thing and but if you're going to something kind of foreign like a vegan lifestyle then it's kind of like a unknown territory it's like so you have to kind of do your research and then you find out all things like omega-3 or whatever nutrients that oh you can get it from this food, so then you start to get like kind of knowledgeable about all these different vitamins, minerals, etc. and then and it can actually make someone healthier just because they have more knowledge about that. So
So would you say that being vegan has made you healthier overall as a person?
I would say so. Another thing is that I remember like before doing all this, like, you know, I mean, this is a bit kind of, might be a bit TMI, but the whole thing of, not passing a lot of stools, shall I say,
Yeah.
because of, if you don't eat hardly any fiber, then it's gonna just, build up for, a while before it leaves your body. So like, but it can almost get to a point where I'm like too regular in a sense, like it's like you kind of the amount of food that I'm eating as well. It's like it just goes right through me. So, um, but I mean, it's hard to say if like I feel healthier overall because I wouldn't know exactly what I would have felt if I'd have just you know tried doing like the fitness journey on say like an omnivorous diet. Um, but yeah, that's that.
So do you think that like your plant-based journey, like your vegan journey has kind of influenced you to look more into like looking after yourself better, like you mentioned, fitness.
Yeah, yeah, I think that because also the thing with like the vegan diet is that a lot of people find the problem of like just eating enough calories. So they have to be a bit more selective of what they're eating. Like say if you're just eating a bunch of, like low calorie fruits and vegetables, then it's going to be quite hard to meet those requirements. Like how many apples would it take to
Yeah.
reach, your and you'd probably feel full before you even got to that point. So yeah.
Yeah, that's fair enough. So, in terms of like generally how you feel in your life overall about being vegan, like what's changed there?
I think it's just the thing of like being more compassionate, I would say. And like because when it's like they say like how you do one thing is how you do everything. So if you're gonna extend compassion to say animals, to like in like slaughterhouses or whatever, then you can start being more compassionate to say like um things like pets and things like that, or even just other people in your life. So it's about like kind of adopting these habits of compassion, because if you was to only have compassion in one um in one way, then it could be seen as a bit hypocritical and like almost like a double standard or something.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's quite a beautiful thing to hear that, that compassion is obviously something that's important to you and you've managed to spread it throughout all areas of your life. So yeah,
Yeah,
I
and I
appreciate you
still have a
sharing
lot
that.
of work to do, and it's something that I have times where I really mess up and do things that crazy, like where I'll just would get a freak out or whatever and say stuff that I would then later regret, but then at least I would have like the conscience to then realize that I've made a mistake and try to reflect on it and learn from it.
Yeah, that's amazing. I think it's such an important factor and like characteristic trait to have in life,
Yeah.
for sure. So I'm gonna go back a little bit about people our viewers won't know this, but I know you wanted to talk about building muscles as a vegan. So do you wanna share a little bit about your journey in,
Yeah, yeah. So basically what it was, so it started like with it was around kind of this was actually before going vegan or anywhere near that kind of thing. It was I started to end up like losing a bunch of weight, and I was like I just wasn't eating enough. Like I was getting into some bad habits of just doing a lot of like fasting and stuff, probably because I just kind of was just buying into a lot of nonsense on that, and it wasn't good for me personally. It was so I was like I ended up getting to a point. So it was actually just after like going vegan where I actually realized it's like, okay, I need to sort myself out. I need to put on some weight. So like slowly but surely I started, trying to increase the amount of food I eat. It's like don't do too much like fasting and stuff that because that's just gonna, it's just gonna, make me like, like lose weight again and start looking into like calories and things like that, and like what foods that have the most calories for being vegan. Because, like I said before, it's like easier to put on weight if you're not, but it's like you can find, oh, well, this, food has this amount of calories and this amount of protein in it. This will be good for like, kind of, getting some size on. So I just, started, doing more research on it, and then it just like, it was just kind of like, started doing the training, but for a while I was just kind of, I kind of had moments where I just kind of plateau, and then so I had, moments where I'd prioritize it more, and then kind of not prioritize it as much, and then at one point is like a really sort of pivotal point. When I actually started to. This was about, I think it was May of last year, and I started taking a supplement called creatine.
Yeah.
So it's like, basically what it is that our bodies produce some of the creatine, but it can also be gotten from animal products like red meat, for example. The problem is that if you are a vegan or vegetarian, you don't really get it from your diet. So then, so what I've realized is that supplementing it was actually even more important for me, and I
So
actually
what
had this
is,
explosion of
can you just
progress.
explain what creatine is?
All right, so creatine is yes, basically it's a supplement that helps to make you stronger, makes your muscles fuller, and helps with like recovery. There's a lot of benefits to it. Even bone health it can improve as well. But it's something that, like I said, vegans they don't get from the diet. So if you want to, maximize progress with say bodybuilding, or if you are a even for things like high intensity bouts of cardio, like sprints, for example, it can be beneficial for that because it increases um, the utilization of ATP, which is an energy molecule.
Yeah.
So, by by implementing that, that's where I really started to really grow a lot faster, and it gave me a lot. It also gave me a push to like go harder with it. I think as well because I was seeing progress, it then gave me more motivation to keep going. Whereas I think if it wasn't for that, I might have not been as like dedicated. So there's that as well. So yeah,
That's awesome. Thanks for explaining. I think that's important for people
sure.
to know. So do you think that you would you say you have a lot more energy than before you
Uh,
went vegan?
what, not the creatine.
Yeah.
It's hard to really say, but I just kind of like it's just just how I think it just helped me get a bit stronger. That's all. It's just that's the that's the only thing I've really noticed. I mean, it can give you like I said, energy in like short bouts, like if you're sprinting and things like that. It's not necessarily useful for like longer distance and longer duration stuff.
Yeah.
But there's actually said to be some like mental benefits to it as well. That some suggest that if you take a certain amount of it, I mean, there is, it's still like an emerging research, but there was some, like scientists and stuff coming out saying that there's evidence that it could help with things like neural fatigue and stuff like that, and also slow down the onset of like things such as neurodegenerative diseases if taken in a certain amount above what's necessary for like just the muscle benefits. So it's something to consider. I'm not saying everybody should take it, and some people don't really get much of an effect from it. But if it's something that could benefit you, then it's like if you're a vegan, you might even get more benefits from it. Like I said, from the fact that we don't, like take in the creatine. So I mean, from like food. I mean, so
Yeah. So yeah, it's nice to hear you talk about this stuff actually, because I can see your passion in it, and it's yeah, I see you light up.
Yeah, yeah, it's just something that I've had a lot of like experience in this sort of stuff, and it's just because like it was something that I needed to do for myself, for my confidence and stuff, because I didn't want to just be like back in 2018, 2019 when I was like I looked frail and people even noticed things like the like even like clothes weren't even fitting. It was like they were loose, and I was like, this is not good.
Yeah,
But at the time, I didn't necessarily realize how bad things were. But I knew things were bad. But it's like, but it was like, yeah, it was. But then looking back, you're like, oh wow, you know. So sometimes I would look at myself and be like, I don't really feel that much, healthier now, whatever. But then I look back and I'm like, oh wow, I've really made a lot of changes. So
yeah,
sometimes you have to sort of, um, there's this thing of like self-image. And there was this book called Psycho Cybernetics, so it talks about that, and it's like because some people could say like of they could have lost a bunch of weight, let's say, or whatever it was they've done, or they've done something to themselves to become better, but they still see themselves as the way that they were before. So by going back to reference that the past, I think can be a good way to remind yourself of how far you've come.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's a powerful message. Yeah,
Yeah.
I 100% agree. I think it's important sometimes to look back where we used to be to like just compare for ourselves, not, compare ourselves to other people, but yeah,
That's not a good idea because comparison is the thief of joy, they say. So
yeah, exactly.
do it for
Yeah,
yourself, really.
definitely. Yeah. Yeah, thanks for sharing that. That was very
No
insightful.
problem.
So I think we will leave to our final question, which is um, what advice would you give somebody that's looking into veganism but is not quite there yet?
Oh, that's a good one. All right. Like advice, like what do you mean, like as in terms of like specifically what?
However you want to interpret the question is absolutely fine.
I'm not very good with like trying to like you know it's like I have to try and assume some kind of meaning from what.
You can answer
Oh,
it
all
multiple
right.
ways if you like.
So I would just say like if we're talking like in terms of like I mean like well we could go over a couple of different points. Like first of all, like the nutrition part of it. Like say if they're worried about oh like is there going to be any like nutrients that I'm not getting? How do I get enough protein? How do I get enough things like iron or whatever it might be, and they'll say, okay, well, these foods have it, and you can track your nutrition through, say, like um, I think it's like called Chronometer or something. I think it's some kind of app where people can like um, plug in all of their foods that they've had throughout the day, and it will tally it up in terms of the caloric content, the nutritional contents, like the how much iron it's had in total and things like that. So that way you can be confident that you are getting enough of these things.
Yeah.
So there's things like that. And then if the reason that they're struggling is say like they're for example, one of the things that I think two foods that seem to be like stumbling blocks for people is cheese and bacon.
Hmm.
Like those seem to be the most like addictive foods for a lot of people. Like, and that's where I would struggle to kind of like because a lot of the alternatives, a lot of people just aren't really, really digging it. They're kind
Yeah.
of just, yeah. So I guess I would just say, well, you can try, but That's all you can really do, and it's just. But I guess you could say, well, you could come at it in from like a angle of, is the taste of that thing worth the you to, like, sort of be contributing to the suffering and the exploitation. So that's kind of like the, say, like the Earthling Ed kind of angle of it, and I can see that as like, that could work for some people, I guess, because it depending on how, like compassionate they are and stuff. So just um, but, it's just because, like, would they be willing to, like, forfeit those things if you say they couldn't find an alternative that was viable for them, and but they're just happy to just kind of quit eating that. But yeah, it's just still one of those things that some people would have issues with, and but it's all about just, yeah, I guess you have to, like, learn to accept that you're not going to be able to convert everybody, and so that way, if you are feeling pressured to do that, then you might end up, you might actually make things worse by um, coming across a bit like
Pushy.
forcible, yeah. So we have to just keep in mind that all we can do is do our best, and we can, as I say, we can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. So just being, kind of like I said, just planting that seed there of being like, oh, you can try this food. It's like, maybe just give it a try, see if you like it.
Yeah.
Um, and you could even give them a sample of food that you've made, for example, and you can, because if they're a bit like worry of it, oh, I don't know if I'll like that, we can just give them a try of it or something, and then if they like it, then they might want to go out and buy that, and it could just get them to transition or something. So
Yeah, sounds good. I think it's important, and it shows, again, you're just showing your compassion there because you don't want to deter no, I don't think any of us want to deter people away. We want them to make the decision for themselves when they're ready to.
yeah, this is the thing, because I remember there was this whole, like, pledge thing that someone was, like, talking about, like, to there was this thing of, um like, say, vegans got, say, like, non-vegan friends and family or whatever, and they'll say to them, you can, come have a meal with me, but it has to be vegan or something like that, and it's like, I just,
There's a liberation pledge.
yeah, the whole liver, yeah, I'm like,
I've done that.
I don't know
I live that.
like, I mean, I understand, like,
I
like,
don't do it for the pressure though. Like for me, it's just like this is just my boundary. Like I'm not comfortable around this, so therefore this is what I'm gonna accept
I
and stand
understand
on,
if you don't
basically.
like seeing other people eating out. I mean, for me personally, it's like I'm not really that bothered. I'm not really even paying attention that much to, like, what people are putting in their mouths. It's just kind of, so I guess it's just we're different that way of, like, you would be like repulsed by seeing someone eating a
Yeah,
burger or something, or
yeah.
a
Yeah,
sausage
it's
roll or
more the
whatever.
pain. It's more the pain for me, like because and I think a lot of vegans when they see what really goes on behind the scenes, where so many people have still no idea, not truly. Like we see the animal for the sentient being they are,
Yeah,
and like that's where it is for me. Like
yeah,
I don't just see somebody eating a burger like it does, in some senses disgust me because I think it is gross that people are eating carcasses.
yeah,
But for me, for me, it's more that is a living being, like, and it's
yeah.
died
More like
through
disgusted
no,
by the fact that it's a living being.
yeah,
Yeah,
and it's very distressing, to.
Yeah,
to
it's
see that.
I understand that. It's just because the way I see it though, it's just that by telling them, oh well, you have to eat this food if you want to, have a meal with me, it could come across as like manipulative.
Oh yeah, for sure. And yeah, for
I mean,
sure.
it's just one of those things. It's just, I guess it kind of like depends on the person and like if they like really understand your that you have your boundaries and that you and I think it's like healthy to set boundaries because in every aspect of life because you need to like if there's something that you just really don't feel comfortable with then you need to speak up about that and so I respect that that you have your boundaries you have your standards and whatever that you set because otherwise people will just kind of think that they can just do what they want around you
Yeah.
and disrespect you. So yeah,
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
all about like having that
It's
respect.
how you approach it is
Yeah,
everything.
there's that
I
as well.
think,
If you're
you can definitely be controlling about it and angry about it, but
yeah
at the end of the day, like for some people, like I can see the Liberation Pledge is just it might be about control. But
yeah
I know from myself, like wholeheartedly, that I think a lot of it comes from, a good place.
yeah.
Um, they're just doing what's right for them and the
Yeah,
animal.
that's what it is.
Yeah.
It's about it's like what they call it, like a grander purpose than themselves. It's
Yeah.
that so I get that, but yeah, the let's say you have like family dinners, and then if they say like doing like a chicken dinner or a turkey dinner or whatever, um and so you wouldn't be going to any of that
Yeah.
because you just would feel
Yeah.
uncomfortable around all
Yeah.
those like dead carcasses and yeah,
Yeah,
it's
it's hard. Like
quite
it's not an easy thing to commit to.
socially excluding yourself
Yeah,
and.
literally. Yep.
But I guess it's just the whole thing of like of one door closes, another one opens kind of thing, and just okay, well, I can't have a meal with those people, so therefore I just have it with my vegan friends or whatever,
Or the people that are,
or people who
understanding
are
and
quite
willing. Yeah.
willing to respect your wishes of that.
Yeah. And there's a lot of those. Like I've learnt, when it's a request rather than a like you have to do this, like it makes a massive difference. But you're always going to get people that are, um, even when you are doing it in a respectful manner, you
I
are
mean,
always
there
going
might
to
be
get
some
prominent
like, I mean,
defenses.
it might be like an extreme example, but what if, say, like, there is some case where they just can't stomach vegan food or whatever it might be, or they've tried a whole bunch of it and they'd still,
See,
uh,
I would argue against that because people are always eating plant-based food. Like people eat vegetables, people eat
yeah, even if say
grain,
it's like
carbs.
beans and things like that, yeah,
So it's not, like the way I see it is it's like inclusion is very important to me and anyone can eat plant-based food. Like there might be obviously, allergies or things that don't agree with you necessarily,
yeah,
but there's going to be something for everyone. Whereas when it's a vegan versus like omnivores, like they can't have some of those things.
yeah.
And that's the way I see it.
Some of them might feel like the food has to have some meat in it to taste good or something like that.
Yeah.
What would you say to that then?
But then it's about open-mindedness and like there's probably a meal that they're going to have, like, be it a curry, that doesn't necessarily have to have any meat in it that they might like, but it's about being open to that.
Well, yeah, there's that because it's like, because I remember I had this mate where someone made him a vegetable stew, and the thing is, right, because he said he didn't like vegetables, like as in like when you tasted them in like kind of isolation, like say a piece
Yeah.
of broccoli, a piece of carrot or something,
Yeah.
and like, but when it was like all mixed together in like a stew, in a way that was all like where it was chopped up quite fine and just kind of that you wouldn't really notice each individual
Yeah.
like ingredient. That another way for people to like do it would be to like blend it up, so they
Mm.
could make like things like
Soups.
green smoothies or just blend it up into a soup.
Yep. 'Cause
So
people eat vegetable soup all the time, you know?
yeah,
Like, and they would just fight you like, I have to have meat. Well, you don't because you don't. Like, it's just
yeah, it's like half of the food that they eat could easily be
yeah, and they
like
probably are.
even some of like the junk food they're eating, like their donuts, like because I remember I think it
Yeah,
was I
co-op.
remember there was like churros, which is like a Spanish donut,
Yeah,
and oftentimes they're vegan. In fact, there was actually I remember there was a van at some festival and it had vegan churros.
yeah,
There was even like, there was like two options for like chocolate sauce. There was like a non-vegan one, and a vegan one. It was
yeah,
more expensive though. That's another thing I wanted to bring up about the whole. It's unfortunate, but a lot of the alternatives are more expensive. But the thing is, if you eat predominantly like more kind of just like stuff that you make yourself, or just using a lot of like, these bulk ingredients like your oats, your like your lentils, things like that, where it's very cheap.
yeah.
So it probably would cancel out the extra cost of a lot of the um if you just wanted to say have a little treat or something.
Yeah. It's about quality though as well, isn't it? Because it's like,
Yeah.
you can compare somebody that has meat and dairy and eggs in their diet and somebody that doesn't. And even when you compare them side by side, you can still have people that may be buying even more food that the meat eater might, and it costs them less. But it's so
Yeah,
it's
that's the
always
thing.
entirely
Like,
dependent on what it is that they're
yeah, like
buying.
I said, it depends. Like, say if you've got, like say you buy a, like I said, a bag of, like dried, lentils, chickpeas, or split peas, whatever, and they're like they cost like maybe like they're like less than a pound for a bag in some cases. It's like depending on where you get it from. You could go to like a like an Asian supermarket, get I don't know like a 5 kilogram, 10 kilo. Let's say you could get
Yeah.
like a 10 kilogram bag for like 10 quid or something.
Yeah, if that, it's like
That maybe
5.99
buy
normally or something.
it
Yeah.
because the bigger the quantity, the cheaper it is overall.
Yeah.
So
100%. There's always ways around it.
yeah, there's always ways,
Always.
and yeah, it's like and then it's like people, oh, I ain't got time to cook all this food. Well, batch cook it then. So there's ways of that as well.
Or don't cook. Like just eat it raw.
Well, you can't eat everything raw, but yeah,
But there's a lot of things you can. Like my partner right now is a prime example of that. He doesn't cook a lot. He'll just, his dinner yesterday, for example, was like he's not vegan. He's actually an omnivore.
right.
But he will have a wrap and he's got beetroot and hummus and I think he had chips and some other kind of vegetable. Like there's no prep in that.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like
Just bung it together. It's a quick meal, and for him, like that's really important to have quick meals because he
yeah,
has
just
this
like a quick
thing.
packed lunch or something that's
Yeah,
like just put a banana in it, put a make
yeah.
a quick sandwich that's like 2 minutes.
Because
Just yeah,
time is valuable. And it's precious to so many of us, especially in the kind of world we live in. Like there's so many
yeah.
demands and expectations of us to be busy
Yeah,
all
it's
the
just I
time.
remember there was this like person. I think they went on one of these like morning programs that was and saying stuff like about like about like that we're the vegan food being too expensive and that's why they would, get McDonald's. But I'm thinking McDonald's is a lot more expensive than just making vegan food, from scratch.
I know.
It's just quite ignorant, some of the stuff that
Yeah.
people say, because they just don't know. They don't know any
No,
better.
they're not even thinking about it. A lot of the
They
time
think
it's
that
just,
it's that veganism is all about, eating like the Chicago town vegan pizza or whatever, and like um the moo free chocolate that's like 3 times the price or something like that.
yeah. Well, I wouldn't say Move Free is a good example of that because it's not that expensive, but
Well, I mean,
I
I
see what you're
don't know. I don't
saying.
know. I just remember that they were quite expensive. Maybe I don't know how much they are now because it's been a while since I had that.
I think
But
it depends on the actual thing. Like some Move Free stuff's really cheap, but others is quite expensive.
I
So
do
it just
remember there
depends.
was one where it was like, I think it was like a 90-gram bar or something like that for like, and it was like nearly £3.
Oh
But
wow.
whereas you could get like a Galaxy bar in, if it, on offer for like a pound or something.
Yeah.
Like, it's just, there are certain things that are a lot more expensive as, if you're, but like I said, that if you just had, say, like it as a treat now and then, your
Yeah.
diet probably would still be cheaper overall because of
Yeah.
if you learn to cook it more and you just prepare it and you're not going out buying a bunch of expensive like burgers, like so some of
Yeah.
these burgers can be like a few quid, and
Yeah.
then it's like then you got like fries. I mean, they're already like vegan for the most part, unless
Yeah.
they make dripping, which can happen over here. But
Doesn't happen often. Yeah.
yeah, but it's
It's just all about like supply and demand, essentially.
yeah,
The only reason why things are ever expensive is because they're not in demand enough. Like, and the more and more we make plant-based food in demand, the cheaper they're going to be. There's
well,
already,
yeah. That's the thing is that yeah, like about this. Yeah, it's like I was thinking about, is that why, say, like things like organic food and less processed food is more expensive in general because it just hasn't got the demand for it. I do think that they
yeah,
are kind of taking the mick a little bit in a lot of cases, but
yeah, definitely.
um,
Especially as well, like organic food, for example, like isn't actually organic, like they say.
yeah, yeah.
So yeah, there's a lot of false information out there
It's
about
but
the
speaking
foods
of the
we're
whole
having.
organic thing, people seem to assume that veganism is about being organic and being all like kind of natural, but actually it's not really because a
No.
lot of stuff is quite dirty.
Yeah, yeah, there's still a lot of processed stuff. It's just, and this is the thing as well, like, there's a lot of when we use terms like vegan diet and vegan food, like people associate it with what you're eating rather than what veganism is actually about, which
Yeah,
is about the ethics. So, like for me, I try and steer away from those phrases.
because I remember someone was thinking that like baked beans weren't vegan or something. But he
Yeah.
said, "Oh well, well, it's not raw vegan." It's like, well, what do you mean?
And I would quite often argue, like I have this argument, like I'm being pedantic really, but I quite often have the argument that like when someone says like beans are vegan, I'm like they're not vegan because they don't have the thought process behind it.
Yeah,
They're
yeah.
not
That's
a
like
sentient being. They're
yeah, it's
not
like yeah. Because I was thinking about
it's
that.
an
Like when
object.
I say a food is vegan, it's like you could because it doesn't have the capacity to like
Think.
yeah to. It's just what they're saying is that it's suitable for vegans. It's
Yeah,
just like a lazy way of saying
yeah,
that.
yeah. It is. It is a bit of a pet hate mine though. Because yeah, I do feel quite strongly that like those terms are they're hiding the message of what veganism is really about. So yeah,
Yeah, that's the thing because people would just see it as like, oh, it's suitable for a vegan diet rather
yeah,
than
literally.
being a lifestyle because then it extends beyond that with things like leather and
Hmm.
other things that like people would use, like even things like fur or
Yeah, and the places we visit, and
yeah,
yeah, yeah, literally.
I think it's like um not promoting the exploitation of animals and stuff, and yeah.
This has been like a very fun conversation. So yeah, I just wanted to thank you for having it with me. Like
You're
I like
welcome.
how at the end it's just like completely free flowing.
Yeah, that's what I would like to go, but yeah.
Yeah, it's been really fun. So, another little quick question. So, I mentioned that you mentioned earlier you've got a YouTube channel. Like, obviously, this channel is all about connecting people.
Yeah.
How if anyone is watching this and they want to reach out for you, maybe they want some advice or they just want to befriend you because they're in the area or whatever. How can people get in touch with you?
Yeah, well, if you just like type in at Jamie Brown JB, that is like the handle for my
That's your
channel.
YouTube.
Yeah.
And are you open to people contacting you and on other social medias, or is that your one and
That's,
only?
I mean, like, I do have like Instagram as well if people wanted to get me there. Like, that's Jamie Brown JB95 for that. So, yeah, if they wanted to DM me there or something. But I mean, my content is like on my YouTube is maybe I should start like incorporating more like vegan stuff. Thinking about it, like I was thinking about doing some like cooking stuff to like just to kind of plant seeds of like if they see that I'm doing a recipe that is plant based, then they might consider it as like, oh, this looks nice. Maybe I could try it.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Yeah,
That's a good idea. I love
yeah.
that.
It would also tie in with the fitness and the nutrition part of it because if I'm doing like more kind of whole food type of recipes, then people might be interested in that as well. But as long as it looks still appetizing for people, that they would be interested in doing that because there's also that stigma of like, oh well, this food, yeah, it's like it looks just like it. I wouldn't enjoy it.
Yeah. Yeah, and you don't want that, do we?
No, no, I could do the opposite. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
that's awesome. That'd be
probably
really
even
awesome.
more. So they might be even more put off, and it would stigmatize veganism even more of just being rabbit food or something,
Yeah.
or bird food or whatever, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, just have eat a bowl of seeds.
Or some like just a whole bunch of lettuce and cucumbers or something.
That's appealing to some people.
Yeah, I guess it depends. I mean, suppose if you're in heat, then it's like you want to have something quite watery. So I suppose,
Yeah.
yeah.
Awesome. Well, yeah, it's been yeah, as I said, it's been really fun talking to you. Thank you for
Yeah,
all
so
the
yeah,
insight. I've
yeah.
really
Thank you
enjoyed
for
it.
having me.
You're very welcome. It was my pleasure.
Thank you.
And thank you guys all for watching. I hope that you have gained from this experience as much as we both have, I think. And yeah, we will see you next time. Much
See,
love and hugs.
bye.